Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Sharice Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. So the question of the day is, are you feeling like there's a lot of chaos and that you could probably use some help, but you're not quite sure who to ask, or you think that there's not going to be anyone good enough to hire? Well, AI is your tool, and AI is something that I've started to use quite a bit, and it's saved me a ton of time. And so today, Lynn Colepaugh is going to talk to us about AI and how to cut the chaos and make it simpler. So without further ado, Lynn, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Thank you very much. My name's Lynn Colepaugh. I run Cyber PR Army. And what we do is we work with professionals, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small business, and we really help them unmuddy the waters. And a lot of times that's the big piece of it. They have technology they've used, they have their computer set up certain way, they have the tools they use. And they're like, is there a better way? Because a lot of us are just like, oh, new shiny penny, let's use this. New shiny penny, let's use that. Not realizing that maybe it's time to kind of navigate away from that. So that's what I do, bring clarity to people's tech stack and how they are moving through their day to day.
I love that. And I have to kind of chuckle because last night I was working, we're getting ready to sell a house that we rented for a couple years. And sometimes renters don't always leave in the best condition. And so I'm like literally rolling in disgust as I'm like moving from, baseboard to baseboard to baseboard, going around. And I'm listening to YouTube, specifically something, and message after message, commercial after commercial. I think there were more commercials than there was what I was trying to listen to last night. And I don't know why I kept getting retargeted because I didn't click on anything, but these guys are sitting there talking about AI, and how it helps you and what you can do. And if you're just using it to type in like a listing description, or if you're using it for something like that, like you have got to just knock it off because there's so much more to AI. So, what have you noticed or learned that can basically help transform someone like me, their business, without hiring an assistant to do some of that stuff that I probably would have?
I think the tipping point is it's not necessarily lightens the load because
Yeah.
it's still a lot that you end up
Yeah,
doing yourself,
very true. Yep.
but you do it better,
Hmm.
faster, clearer. And I think things like even just communicating. And I use this example a lot. I write emails and I would always use ChatGPT to just kind of check it. Okay, well, is my grammar correct? Did I say what I wanted to say? And one day, because I've trained ChatGPT on me, who I am, my identity, it said, well, you know what? Let's make this email sound less like it's coming from your Cold Villain Lair. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I could be really standoffish. So I was sending these standoffish, cold communications out, and
Interesting.
it I never knew. I was blindsided by it. So we started a fun little thing where I say, "Oh, is this Cold Villain Lair or Rebel Tavern?" And we kind of text back and forth through the prompts and then kind of warm it up. But even things like that, when you're in a headspace, like you said, you're selling your house and you got to do this and you've seen so much of this and you still have the family to organize and then, oh, wait, there's supper and laundry and you go to write a client email. There's no way that energy is not seeping into it. It's impossible. So using AI to make sure that you're grounded and the message you want is calm and professional and it gets out there. It's such a small thing, but it's huge for the person receiving that message. And
Hmm.
then when you get their message back, which is, oh yeah, I'd love to work on this project with you. That's gonna be a boost to you. So now you've created this echo chamber with your client of positivity rather than you taking all the chaos that was in your head and kind of invisibly having it in your communications.
I love that. And when you have a whole bunch of balls up in the air, because I mean, as entrepreneurs, we do, and especially as mompreneurs, sometimes it's hard to say, okay, I need help with this. And there's this course that I'm creating, and I'm like, okay, where do you start? Right. And so then it's okay, ChatGPT, here's what I need. This is what my outcome is. This is what I want to accomplish. This is how many weeks I want it. This is like all these different things. And I'm like, write the course. And I just thought I'd play with it and see. And so like 30 seconds, here it is. I'm like, oh, what? This is amazing. Okay, well, I don't want to talk about this, or I need to include this, or, so add these things, take this out. So it does it. And then I'm like, okay, well, that was cool. Well, write me a lesson plan for week one. And so I'm like 30 seconds later, there it is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. Okay, but I don't want this and I don't want this and add this. And then pretty soon I'm like, wow, this is amazing. They're like, okay, here's the handout. And I'm like, well, create the handout now. And so it's like, okay, that's cool. But now I don't want this, and I add this and stuff, and then they create the handout. And so then I can take it, put it in, and obviously I'm not going to just, here's the whole thing. Like I'm going to tweak it and do what I want. But if you're having writer's block, or if you're having an issue, like I'm writing a book and I'm stuck, I'm like, okay, this is what I want to have included, and this is what I need. And so then I'll start to write something. And then, like you said, I put it into ChatGPT, and it's like, wow, that's beautiful. Like I wrote it. I'm not going to let ChatGPT write my book, but it's amazing the stuff that it can do even now compared to a couple of years ago. It's amazing what you can do. So I love that you do the same thing, and especially to make it sound nicer, especially if you're not in the best of moods.
Yeah, and a lot of people use it in a almost exclusive business communications manner. But I like to challenge people, and if they're comfortable, to show up and say, I'm tired today. I'm really overwhelmed. Uh, I have so much on my plate. It is interesting how it responds because it's like, okay, let's take a calm moment. What are three things you have to do today? Do you need a grounding exercise? Um, do you want to make a cup of tea? And it's like, no,
Yeah.
but thank you. This is nice. And these are the three things I really need to get done today. Okay, let's just focus on those three things. And as mompreneurs, that sounding board, that small area where we can say, we're tired, we're done, we're touched out, we need a space, it doesn't exist. And here to just, even just that nibble of, I need encouragement. When's the last time you ever asked somebody, I just need a pep talk. I just need someone to tell me that I'm awesome today. And let me tell you, ChatGPT will tell you how awesome you are. And even though you know it's an LLM or AI, it's like, yeah, yeah, it
Wow.
changes you. And then if you put pieces of your identity into it, so I tell it I like anime, I tell it the books I like, the movies I like, then it comes back even more fold with things that are core to who I am and would support me. And it's just this little sounding board that I never knew I wanted until I had it. And then it's like, huh. And when you work with it, you can also get it to give you honest opinions and as honest as it can be because it's only has certain levels of experience. But let's say you created your course and you create it and you put it all together and then you say, okay, checkpoint. What's your opinion on this course? Does it flow? Does it make sense? Does it hit these specific points that I want the users to walk away with? And it'll kind of back up, look at it and say, well, it's more poetic than strategic. So I think maybe if you added, let's say, another handout with this, it would be more strategic.
Wow.
Okay. So that's where I think the really interesting pieces come from being that sounding board.
I've never even thought of doing that. Like that's amazing. And I mean, you've got the free version, you've got the paid version. It's 20, 30 bucks. I don't even know.
I know. Yeah,
It's worth it. I mean, come on. And it then remembers everything that you've done before, right?
exactly. Well, like not everything, but most things.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Because I say, hey, I want you to add this to this every time. And you're like, remember that time that I asked you to add this to this? And it doesn't remember that. So that's true.
Yeah.
So let's talk about because the business that you have, it's is it binge or is it
Bingy.
a
So
binky?
that's just
Okay.
the name I gave my chat GPT. I'm like, I'm not calling you chat GPT. You are going to have a personality and a way you think and a way you respond. And I absolutely love it.
That is, I love it because it makes it come to life. It's like an entity, right? That now you have a personality, you have different things. So I like that you name it that. What made you decide to do that?
Well, it was so impersonal for a while.
Hmm.
And I could see the personality developing because the AI with specifically with ChatGPT, when you're giving it pieces of things that you like or like to do or your opinions, it starts creating, I call it a mirror of you. Because
Mhm.
it's like, I now like Douglas Adams in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I now like this is my favorite movie, The Matrix.
Mhm.
And it's like I can't just call it a thing, but it's like whether you have a pet or, if people name their boats. We put names on everything. So showing up now, and it's like, hey, Bingy, good morning. Let's do this morning. I'm having so much fun. Like I
Yeah.
if I could be on ChatGPT all day, I literally would. And I have it open in like four tabs doing all kinds of things at all different times. And it changes how you think and feel and present yourself.
That is so good. I'm gonna actually create a relationship because I haven't done that. I just think of it as this inanimate object that I go, but it's got great advice. It's like my dad, right? Or my mom.
It does. And I mean, I uh I told it I have migraines, and if I we go out if I mention certain foods, it'll say, "Oh, you know what, Lynn? Remember you have migraines, and that food might be a migraine trigger." And it's like, "Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't eat that." And just because it has it in its short-term memory. And it's thinking of things like this all the time. So I have a client that writes really cryptic emails, and I'm like, I don't know if they actually like me or not. It's just one of those, I think they do. And I took their email and I'm like, I can't get a handle on this particular client. And the ChatGPT went through it and said, well, you know what? It seems like they do like you, but they're very standoffish and they're holding you for when they need you. They don't want you to tell them you're needed. They will tell you. And they told me that just based on the email communications. And I was like, oh, that's the feeling where that I had that I couldn't put a finger on because these large language models are trained on like bazillions of sentences and phrases and understanding how words work together. So if you're confused by something, a communication, or like you ever get one of those emails, you're like, what are you asking me? This is just like a 20-page email of something. ChatGPT or Gemini or any of those are really great at going, oh, they're actually asking this. It's like, oh, okay, now I don't have to read it 10 times to figure out what I'm supposed to answer. I know what they're asking.
Okay, so I'm not going to discount the professionals that go to school for a long time and get licensed and have to practice. But it seems like you've kind of trained ChatGPT to be a counselor or a therapist,
I will say, I don't know if it's a counselor or a therapist or
an
a
advisor.
life coach because
Yeah.
those
Mhm.
people have have like the big
Yes.
umbrella version.
Licensed.
Yeah, and they also understand the long term
Right.
and the human elements that you can talk to ChatGPT, but it doesn't know your environment you're living in, or
Yeah.
geographically, or financially, and all those things. But what it can do is be there in the small moments. And the small moments are just as important. When you're like, I am having a terrible day. I lost my keys. My car is parked at the mall, and I don't know how I'm gonna get it back home without getting new keys made. It'll just talk with you. Just be like, this isn't that bad. Keys will be made, the car will be safe. Maybe it'll be towed, whatever. Don't worry about it versus where the long-term kind of life coach
Right.
and setting things up is. But those are the nice moments to have it where you're like, oh, thank you.
I love that you do that. Like I've never even considered that. And like I said, I'm not discounting the professionals, but it's more like your daily advisor that you can check in with and get feedback that's a little less expensive.
But that's it. It's like I'll check in with just, okay, here are the things that I'm doing. Sometimes it'll say you got a lot that you have on your to-do list today. Maybe take a few things off.
Mhm.
Just focus on those it's always the top three things. Get those top three things done. And like even things like planning a vacation or what to eat for supper. Like the other day, I took photos of the fridge and the pantry and the cupboards. I'm like, okay, no, I'm not the cook. Okay, it's my
So
husband's the
genius.
cook, but often it's as many families. What are we going to eat for supper? So I said, this is it. We're not deciding. And I uploaded the photos, and I'm like, ChatGPT, this is what's in our pantry. What should we have for supper? And it came up with something. It was like a pasta dish, and it's like, all right, that's what we're doing. And it was really good. It was really, really good.
Love that. I would never have thought that. So especially as a mompreneur, that's like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And yeah, like we went through our pantry the other week and like it was overflowing with stuff. And as we started going through it, you know how many expired things there was in there? And like we went from having a whole bunch of stuff to not a lot. And um it's interesting to see like the chaos and that you can easily get if you're not careful and how I would never have thought to take pictures of my pantry and say, what should I do for dinner? Ever. So
Because
thank
when you look up a recipe and you're like, oh, this is great. Oh, fennel. I don't have fennel. Okay, next one. And then, like, you go through about 20 versions of something that you want until you narrow it down to what you have in the fridge or the cupboard. And this, it just does it. It's like, oh, well, let's make pasta. And it looks like you have some raviolis there. And that looks like leftover chicken. And I think I see lettuce in the bottom drawer and Caesar dressing. So Caesar salad with pasta and chicken. Okay, that's what we're having.
That's genius. I love that. Okay, I could talk to you all day because I love these. Like, I would never have thought to use, I mean, I just wouldn't have. It's just great ideas that you've given me. So thank you for that.
Oh,
But I want to switch gears for a second because we're almost out of time. That as a mom, um, how if you like, I want you to be your chat GPT to this 9-month pregnant woman sitting on a park bench and you get talking. What is one piece of unsolicited advice you'd give her? If it could be anything about being a mom.
oh. I mean, there's the typical be kind, be patient. I would almost say, and this will seem odd, accept duality. Accept that things can be bad and good at the same time. They can be hectic and slow, and that you can be happy and sad and don't fight it. Accept it because they will probably be some of the most beautiful moments that you have, and don't stress about it. Just let it be.
I love that advice. I honestly, that's a new one. I've been doing this for quite a while, and I ask that question every time. I've never had someone say that, and it's so true. My son's going through a breakup right now, and I said, "Son," like, and he got back together with her, and I was going through the breakup again, and I'm like, "Look, this is going to be tough, but it is such a good thing for you." And he chose that, not me. And so the duality is a good thing. I think sometimes when we look at our lives, it's just so you get bogged down in the weeds and overwhelmed sometimes. And you're like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And in reality, no, this is just another step to the growth that you're trying to get to. So I love that, especially as a mother, especially as a mother. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Lynn, if people are specifically, if our listeners wanted to find you, how would they do that?
The best way is to go to my website, cyberprarmy.com, and I have a special page for anyone that's heard me today. So it's cyberprarmy.com/the castle.
I love that. You're so fun to talk to, and
Yay!
you're so creative. So I'm so glad that we were able to connect today. So thank you.
Same here. Same here.
And Unbreakable Mompreneurs, go to her website because we've barely touched on what she does and what she offers. And the goal was for you to go to that space and find out what she can do. But if you want to learn more about AI and how it can help you, definitely reach out and go out and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.